Gayatri Mantra. Om Bhurbhuvah Swaha Tatsaviturvarenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yo Nah Prachodayat. One mantra for the Puj Gurudev. Om Gurur Brahma Gurur Vishnu Gurureva Maheshwara Gurureva Parabrahma Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Can you go to the first slide? Okay. See, everything that is done in Gayatri Parivar, we do it very scientifically. Even whatever we do religious work is also done very scientifically. We have to understand the meaning behind every discourse. Why does it start with a prayer? Why does it start with a chant of the mantra for the person who has given us all this? So the reason for this is, in fact, I always used to wonder why. So then later reading more and more, I realized, see, when we speak something, it's always thoughts which we have learned from someone, right? So it's an acknowledgement to the Gurudev who has taught us this. What I'm going to talk about now is actually taken, I would say, almost completely from this great man's writings. He is Pandit Sri Ram Sharma Acharya, who's the founder of all World Gayatri Pariwar. So it gives me a pleasure to speak to you. I'm like a messenger who's whatever that he has said, I'm telling it in front of you. It is not mine. It is his thoughts. Okay, go to the next. This is a small outline of the talk. What I'm going to cover today. We essentially talk about the title itself says modern times. So let's look at what our modern times are. What are the challenges that we face in these modern times in raising kids? Then we talk about science of parenting. Essentially, what are the importance of values that have to be taught? 5 great qualities that I talk about now. How to make children listen. That is, I think, one of the major problems you would all face. I think most of the times we know what kind of qualities children should be adopting in their lives. But how do you make them listen? And that is one important aspect that we are going to cover today. And then I go to the little bit about art of raising kids and a few slides on Gayatri Parivar's contributions to the field of education. So go next. Okay, so this is how the modern times are. This is the kind of world we live in where everything is fast paced. We are continuously moving forward. There are a lot of activity. We're moving in a very fast changing world. Everybody is running. Fathers usually are in a rat race like this. Everybody is trying to run ahead. There is so much competition. Somehow you have to do well, perform well in your field and move ahead. Mothers on the other side are totally busy. She has to a lot of times manage house, a lot of times manage offices, raise the children. Most of the responsibility comes and lies on mother's heads. So then what happens? Mother is busy, father is busy running his races, and the children of today are essentially either they're sitting in front of TV, or they're sitting and playing computers, or they're sitting and listening on the mobile. So everybody, they become completely gadget oriented, today's kids. That's how they are. Go next. Okay, and then when they grow up, so that's for the small children also and for the big children. And when the children grow up, they're under continuous stress of examination. That's the kind of education system we have. There's a lot of stress of exam. Then, there is a lot of peer pressure. When they grow up, teenagers, we have always worried about, what kind of peers they have, the kind of pressures they have. If they try to stay away, then they are isolated and they are under stress because of that. And otherwise, there could always be pressure of drinking, smoking, all that. Usually, kids learn from the other kids who are already spoiled. And the other pressure that they have is somehow they have to kick away all children, stand on top of them, become top in their classes. So this is the kind of world we live in. And a nice book sort of summarizes today's world. Parents are pressurized and kids are completely stressed out. This is the kind of situation we see around us all the time. Go next. And on top of it, this education today is in a pretty sad state. So I'll just say a few things about today's education. While we say we are progressing very much in terms of technology, we are moving ahead. There are a lot of opportunities open, but today's education creates a lot of trouble, and that is what I have sort of listed out here. Go next. Education is supposed to make us happy, but today's newspapers that you see all the time, they talk about children are completely unhappy because of education. The teachers are unhappy. They take out all their anger on small children. We see so many deaths that happen in schools because of teachers beating the small children. So neither the teachers are happy nor the children are happy. Go next. We say education brings out the best out of you. So today's education system becomes such that you get 100% cut off for some of the admissions. I mean, unless a child gets 100%, he can't get admission into a higher education, higher degree colleges. Grading system blamed for IIT suicide. Student scores 85% but hangs herself. You see it all the time. That's the way the education system is today. Go next. We say education boosts moral values. Patna medical kills self. Family alleges ragging. The ragging has become so common. It's become such a pain these days. So children who are going, they get dragged, and then they rag the children coming in the next batches. Go next. Education inspires confidence to face challenges, right? And this is at least a basic need that a child has, because he has to face so many challenges in the life later on. But is that true? Look at this example. A 32-year-old techie kills baby self after quitting Infosys. Denied campus placement, IIT, and commits suicide. So a child who is gone to the best of the education goes to IIT and still hangs himself. So I mean, that shows what kind of world we are living in today. Go next. Right? They are aware of health. All the time you see statements like this, that police raid rave parties in which kids who are being in the field of education, they are actually engaging into rave parties, taking drugs, and it's become very, very common now. This says like every fourth child has addiction of some kind. Go next. Suicide has somehow become very, very common. The whole world, I mean, in this whole country, we say everywhere there are so many incidents where young kids commit suicides these days. So this is what our education, and interestingly, it's pretty common in IITs. I mean, I'm an IIT student, but after maybe things were better at that time, but now you see every year you would hear at least one or two cases where kids commit suicide. Go next. See, this is like a collection of all the things, so many of them, and there's just too many of these cases. Go next. Right. So look at this. I mean, how does this education actually make us strong? How does it make it positive? It doesn't do that. Go next. I can just keep on listing things like this. So go next. Okay, now this was another thing very interesting. I mean, this happened last year, where there was a professor from ISC who committed suicide. I think you might have read this news. So this is the kind of education system we have, where even professors of a very highly reputed institute is not able to cope up with his society, is not able to cope up with others, and is being committed, and he's committed suicide. So you can see that education system doesn't seem to be doing what it is supposed to do. This is very common these days. Okay, go next. There are more problems in education system, and you would have heard about this Virginia Polytechnic Institute and State University case, where this man, he just killed 32 people who were his compatriots. In fact, we have one of my friends who was doing his postdoctoral research there, and he was there at this incident when such a incident took place. Okay, go next. Then there is another famous one at Columbine High School, where almost 12 people are killed, 21 were injured, and all that, students and teachers. So it's not an Indian problem. It's a problem which is happening everywhere. It's very, very common. So highly reputed places, very famous educational institutes, we still have the problems of lot of stress, and the education is not able to meet the basic requirements. Go next. So it's high time to think about it. Why is this so? Why does such a thing happen? The main problem is our education system focuses only on pumping loads of information. This is what our system does. We just feed children information, information, information. All subjects. My small children to my elder daughter, all the time they're just mugging. There's loads of information of different subjects which they have to mug, and only then they can do well in their examinations. It focuses completely on career. Make sure that children somehow gets an opportunity to make money, do well, get technical education, and somehow they are able to set up a good life for themselves through, obtaining information. It does not teach children how to live a good, happy human life, which is a very, very important requirement. And see, what education institutes currently do not understand is this happiness actually comes from adopting human values. Right? And they don't pay enough attention to this fact that they have to be taught basic human values which can give them happiness. So if the education institutes don't do that, then it has to be done at home. There is no other escape. We have to have a process by which, at least at home, they learn these human values. And that is what I'm going to talk about. Go next. So how do you teach human values? It's a very, very, generic term which says, unless there is a well-defined syllabus, you would not be able to tell whether you have covered everything in your, what you are supposed to teach, whether they have adopted a complete holistic set of human values or not. So what Pandit Sri Ram Sharma Acharya ji has done through his many books, which I am conveying it to you, is he's listed out at least 5 good human qualities which we can, sort of work on, and something which can make a holistic development of a child possible. So those are listed as 5 Panchashil, right? Now what are included in that is, first he says is Shramshilta, which is dignity of labor or dignity of hard work, which is what has to be taught to the children. Sahakarita, which means generous cooperation with others. Suvyavastha, which means organizational skills. Sanyamshilta, which means self-control. And Shishtachar, which means courteousness. So if we sort of, take care of these 5 different aspects of human life, you could be assured that you sort of achieved a pretty holistic development of a child in terms of teaching him human values. So let's go through these one by one and you'll understand the importance. First one, interestingly, he starts with this thing, with this concept called as Shramshilta, which is teaching the children the importance of hard work, working hard, right? And I'll cover 3 aspects of this working hard. First part is, everything that happens in this world is because of this fundamental desire that we need to excel. Everybody wants to do well. Whichever state you are in, you should, a man basically tries to strive more than that, right? We would like to achieve more than what we currently have. And that is something which has to be inculcated in children, because attaining success is a very fundamental desire of a human being. Nobody is happy in the state that you're in today. Everybody tries to strive more than that. And this again has to be taught to the children. They have to strive for success. Every child must try, even if he is, he comes last in the class, he must, every time he take exams, must try to go a little higher than that. He must, never give up saying that I'll tolerate my failures. He has to strive for success. And this is something which has to be, ingrained in human being, because most of the times the failures that happen is not because the child is not capable. It is because he does not take enough interest. He doesn't take enough interest in the work that he does, and the efforts that he puts in are most of the times insufficient. And if they're not insufficient, suppose you think that he actually spends a lot of time in his studies, then the problem could be in terms of efficiency. Maybe the way they learn is not efficient enough. So if we take care of these 3 aspects, generate interest in children and make sure that their efforts are sufficient and efficient, failures will not happen, right? Laziness and disinterest that children have has to be rejected, and they have to be told that they have to develop willpower. And this willpower is the one which is the fundamental requirement for succeeding, at least at the school level, right? So this is the first aspect of Shramshilta. Make sure that children have this desire to succeed. So this has to be taught to children. Go next. The second aspect that has to be taught is, see, initially the children may not be interested, but as they grow older and although they realize that they have to get into good colleges, they have to do well, and when in that process they start adopting shortcuts, right? So the children also have to be taught that there is no shortcut to success. If they have to succeed, they have to put in hard work, right? That's because any shortcuts that are taken for success will never stay, and it will always bring trouble and unhappiness. And if this is ingrained in children right from the beginning, I'm sure that we can actually control corruption that happens in this country to a large extent. Because when the children understand that if they are going to adopt the wrong means and go the wrong way, they may seem to succeed, but eventually it brings them disgrace, their family to disgrace, then they would not go into the wrong path. It looks very promising, but it ends up in all kinds of trouble, right? And unhappiness. So this again has to be taught to the children. And then the overemphasis on exam marks as a criterion for success is also a problem today, right? People think that if their children are going to, the only way to measure their success is how well they're getting, what kind of marks they're getting, whether they're doing too good in their, unless they're competing with others and doing better than them, they have not actually done well. So this is the wrong criterion, and this is my own personal experience. Today we have lots of coaching classes that go on, even for small kids. We used to study, we used to have a coaching class only in our 12th grade, so that we can go to, take up a, compete with others and maybe get a good, seat in some good engineering college or something like that. So we used to have coaching classes that time. Now, children of 4th standard, 5th standard, they also go for coaching classes, which is very funny. I mean, what goes wrong in these coaching classes is children are spoon-fed. They are told exactly what they should write in their examinations, and they're going to get good marks. This is all that coaching class is meant for. And that's how coaching classes are actually, their performance is measured. How good the children are doing in their classes. So they're spoon-fed them. And the problem with that spoon-feeding is they do not have, enough capability to do the hard work and learn things themselves. They can't get their fundamentals right if spoon-feeding is done to small children. So this is the wrong approach. This is the completely wrong approach, and this is again my personal experience. I am a group director of a flight controller team. We built the flight controllers for light combat aircraft. But my own experience is, even if we take, if I have to make a comparison between students who have passed out from IITs and students who are not passed out from IITs but from other engineering colleges, may not be very highly rated, I have found if the attitude of that student is right, if he is able to put in hard work, may not be very intelligent, but I have seen at least 20 to 30 such cases where they have performed much, much better than students from IIT, right? So, people sitting here, I can tell you, if you can get the fundamentals of children right, you'll make sure that he'll succeed in life. You don't have to make sure that they go into the best engineering college to succeed. Right? It may help a little bit, but that is not the end to it. So IIT versus non-IIT, I would go for a non-IIT student, provided he's willing to put in hard work, provided he's willing to apply his mind to what he's doing, provided his fundamentals are right. Go next. The third aspect of Shramshilta is to teach children that failures do happen and they should not get disheartened. This is again something that has to be taught. Our family atmosphere should be such that we can actually, we tell them that don't get disheartened in failures. Inevitably, and every time, failure always encourages us to think laterally. Whenever we do something wrong, whenever we have done something and we realize that we have not got what we wanted, it allows us to think a little more. We'll think a little beyond, where we have gone wrong. We'll start thinking about that, and we're trying to approach in that particular way. So failure encourages us to think laterally. It reveals our weaknesses. Now, this is something very interesting. See, we conducted this whole big Ashwamedha and all that, and we used to have lots of meetings earlier that we'll do this, we'll do that, this is how we'll do and all that. When the day came, when this program started, when even conducting this seminar, as you go along the process, you realize there are so many errors. I mean, we could have done it much better if you knew earlier that this kind of thing can go wrong. But unless we do it, we make mistakes, we do fail, we get failures, then only we understand that these are the weaknesses that we have. So failures are good because they reveal our weaknesses. They always give us a lot of maturity, right? They make us strong, they help in building characters. So every failure is actually a stepping stone to success. And this is again something which has to be taught to the children. Because if they are in school and they compare themselves only with others who may be doing well, they would always feel that they are inferior. But that is not the case, right? It has to be told to them that if they have failed, it is because of some of these things. And if they make sure that these corrections are made, they will do much better. Go next. And this is my favorite slide. I think you might have seen it earlier, but it always helps to go through these. There are a lot of people who have failed a lot in their early stages, right? And it's good to go through some of them. Go next. Okay, there was a band of musicians, right? And they were turned on by a recording company which said that we don't like their sound and the guitar music is on the way out. And who was this group? Go next. This is Beatles. So how much success Beatles has got, the group has got over, I would say decades, they have been at the top of the charts. And when they started, they faced such a failure. Go next. This person was told by his father that he would amount to nothing and will be a disgrace to himself and his family. And this was Charles Darwin. So, I mean, he also had to face failure. Go next. This person was fired from newspaper because he lacked imagination, had no original ideas. And Walt Disney, I mean, he faced failure in his life at the beginning. Go next. Go next. So this person failed in 6th grade, became Prime Minister of UK, Winston Churchill. He was not able to speak until he was almost 4 years old, and his teachers said he would never amount to much, and that was Albert Einstein. He did poorly in school and failed at running the family farm. This was Isaac Newton. And this list is a very, very huge list. I mean, this is only a few examples. The list is very big, and there are, I think everyone who has eventually succeeded in his life has had failures, but they have not got disheartened by that, and they have continued on their mission and succeeded. Go next. Okay. Bad effects of TV. Again, this I wanted to include here because this is a problem that we face today. And a lot of people say TV is bad, but what kind of scientific work that people have done? Definitely for very small children, people who are yet to be parents, I would advise them that at least till about 2 years they should be kept away from TV as much as possible. There are several things that have been proven scientifically. Things like the small kids actually learn through interaction, right? More time which is spent on TV means reduced brain development. This is a scientifically proven fact. They reduce the language skills, the creativity, motor and social skills, all of them are reduced in children who spend a lot of time in front of TV. Imagination, analytical thinking, and intellectual challenge taking is lower in these kids. Another thing which is very interesting is they have attention disorders. See, all the cartoons and things like that, even if we say that we are not going to, let them see social, serials and things like that, they watch cartoons. And now what happens in cartoons is every one of these cartoons is very fast-paced. So if you, including, good old cartoons that we used to see in our times, like Tom and Jerry and things like that, it's very fast-paced. The mouse is running and the cat is chasing and they're going here and there and all that. So these small children, if they spend a lot of time in front of TV, they think that is what is the actual world. But if they go to the real world, they realize that things are not so fast-paced. I mean, everything is much slower. If they're traveling from one place to another, they travel slowly. It's never like the cat running after the mouse. So what happens to them is they feel that they can't connect themselves to the reality. So they get disconnected from the reality, and this is again a very interesting scientific study published in some journals which say, watching TV, this is the problem. Okay, go next. Older kids, of course, this is a little more well understood. There are problems if there is too much background noise when they're studying, then their attention to voices gets diminished. And then, of course, all this other thing, obesity is a very common issue. Watching violence in TV is a problem. So all this leads to a very lopsided development of children if they spend too much time in front of TV. Go next. Of course, TV shows do educate, inform, and inspire. It's not that TV is bad, right? Mind always needs diversion and entertainment. Good shows, a lot of good shows complement school learning. And it has also been found that cartoons soothe and release stress, especially children who are under stress, school stress and all that. If they spend a little bit of time watching cartoons and things like that, it gives them a good diversion, and it's actually reduces stress. So essentially the conclusion of this is, as Lord Buddha says, walk the middle path. Give them a little bit of dose of TV, but don't let them spend too much time on it. This watching too much TV is actually directly related to the problem of Shramshilta. The children do not actually become willing to do hard work when they spend too much time in front of TV. So that is the reason. Okay, go next. The next part is Sahakarita, which is generous cooperation. Now, everything, all great works that get done in this world are never done by a single person. It is always through a teamwork. And this teamwork is something which has to be again taught to the children. To some extent, we do teach in schools when kids do joint projects and things like that, but there is an even better teaching that can be done very much at home itself. So why this is important is because every great work has to be done in a team. They have to be taught the importance of teamwork. And the essential ingredients that are required for creating teams is friendship, mutual love, empathy, and respect. So all these things have to be learned by the children. Only then they will be able to create teams, they will be able to interact with others, and will be able to cooperate with them. So this is again values which have to be taught to the children. And how it can be taught is very simple. Go next. Where do we start this from? Family itself is a great school for teaching cooperation, right? Children have to be, they have to be, we have to make them participate in all kinds of household work, because this teaches respect for each other, especially mothers. Children, for example, take their mothers for granted. Unless they participate, unless they work with them, they realize how much effort mothers put in for the children. Unless they can realize that, they would always treat mother as something like, someone who's there to serve children all the time. So it is a good idea to make them participate in the work. If husbands also spend time together with mothers, with wives in doing their work, it is much better, because that way the entire family spends a lot of time together. When they're all doing work for the family, for raising kids, for doing the household chores, they're all spending a lot of time together, which increases unity inside the family. And when children learn this great quality of cooperating with other people, they are actually directly on the path of greatness. Because eventually, every great person has to actually lead a team under him, and that can happen only if these qualities are ingrained into the children. So the second important aspect of teaching value system to children is Sahakarita. Okay, go next. The third one is Suvyavastha, which means organizational skills. Children should be taught how to organize their lives better. So in terms of first steps, when the kids are small, they essentially have to be taught cleanliness, orderliness, and timeliness. So doing everything, whatever that they do, once the things are over, they have to clean up the mess. They have to keep things in the right order and do things in time. So this is again, I think most of the times we teach all this to children anyway, but make sure that this is part of the regular teaching. I'll come to a little bit about Bal Sanskara Shala towards the end, which is again a step taken by Gayatri Pariwar to teach very, very small kids how to do things, and how to develop small children. And in that, these things are taught as part of their syllabus. Okay, go next. But more interesting, so this is for small children, right? When the children grow up a little bit, then they have to be taught a little more. Now, most management institutes that we have, modern management institutes, right, what they teach can actually be taught at home itself, right? For example, any task that has to be executed, all the task is successful only if these steps are followed. First of all, a plan has to be made correctly. Then all the resources have to be gathered, the plans have to be executed as per whatever was planned earlier. It has to be executed correctly, and in case something doesn't work out, there has to be flexibility in terms of making changes. Now all this can actually be taught at home in a very simple manner, and we do this all the time actually at our home also. Whenever, for example, there is a party to be organized, suppose there is a birthday party of the child, and if you make him a part of that process by which that party has to be organized, he can actually learn a very basic management skill of how to organize things better. Excuse me. So making plans include making a list of who all guests are coming, which all friends he's going to call, what all will happen in the birthday party, make a step-by-step process of that, and then take the child to the market, ask him to buy things, right? Be a part of let kid be a part of the shopping time for the party, and then as the party progresses, the child will be able to see whatever that had been planned is actually going according to plan or not. So this itself is a management skill which can be taught right at home. Okay, go next. Now coming to the fourth one, which is called as Sanyamshilta, which is the importance of self-control. So in this, today's times are actually times for indulgence. Everybody wants to indulge into, have more money, spend on all kinds of things, but that actually is detrimental to the child, right? So they have to be taught how to manage, first of all, their time properly, also how to manage the resources properly, especially in spending. Children have to understand the value of wealth. The wealth has to be utilized because it is actually acquired with a lot of effort, so it should be spent also with a lot of effort. Make sure that it is done for the good purpose, and unless we teach this in an early stage, children tend to become extravagant. They are very quick to know that we have enough money to spend, and they become extravagant, which is bad for them in the times to come. So wastage should be completely avoided. They should be taught prudence in spending, and also the importance of simple living and high thinking must be adopted. More the time people spend in extravagant expenditures, acquiring more and more, they have lesser time for their own personal development, their own personal improvement in life. So time management, especially because it gives time for doing self-study, trying to understand what mistakes we have made and how we can improve upon those mistakes. So that is the importance of Swadhyay, which also which can be done only when a child is Sanyamshil. He is able to control the wastage. Okay, go next. Finally comes Shishtachar, which is courteousness, and courteousness essentially is the first impression of every human being. I mean, whenever you see a child, how that child behaves towards you is the first impression that it causes, and it's a lasting impression. A person who's not courteous is always taken that he is someone whom you would not like to interact with later on. So courtesy has to be taught to the children, sweetness and respect for others, and these are actually divine qualities. In fact, the entire this whole big all world Gayatri Pariwar is actually built based upon this courteousness. People at the highest level today are also very courteous, and whenever anybody comes and meets them, they treat them with a lot of courtesy, with a lot of love and respect, and that also is then taught to people who take over the reins in the next stage. So it's an essential part of learning which has to be given to children. So this sort of completes the five basic Panchashil requirements that Param Pujya Gurudev has given. Go next. Now coming over to the next aspect, and this is again, you maybe all of us, to some extent or the other, do try to teach these value systems to children. But how do you actually make them stay and listen to whatever that you're saying? So this is another problem. I'll go over this in a little bit of a hurry. I'll not take too much of time, but it's good to know because it will help you a lot in case you are trying to tackle your children. So human nature actually is made up of three gunas. This is what Indian psychologists say. There are essentially three gunas, which are tamasic, rajasic, and sattvic. So tamasic gunas basically are the inertia, laziness, and disinterest in whatever a person does. Rajasic guna is activity, restlessness, and lack of concentration. And the sattvic guna essentially is calmness, peace, organized thoughts, and patience. So with these three gunas are called as the fundamental base on which human psyche is actually built upon. Go next. And this is similar to what we have the three, fundamental colors. So we take yellow, blue, and green. These are the three fundamental colors, and all other, the way a person behaves, his nature is actually a combination of the three gunas. Just like every other color in universe is actually a combination of the three fundamental colors. So they will be in different shades, but if we understand that that a person, for example, has to increase a particular kind of guna, he has to reduce the other colors, and then you sort of come to the color that you want to actually attain. So go next. Whatever food that children have has a very, very strong impact on the way they behave, right? So it has been proven in our scriptures that anno vai manaha, the entire mind is actually created from the food that we take. So physical nutrients of the food build the physical body. That means proteins, fats, carbohydrates, etc. build the physical structure of the body. There are subtle qualities of the food which I talked about, the three gunas. Subtle qualities of the food increase or decrease the three gunas. So if children are eating tamasic food, their attitude will be tamasic. If they are eating rajasic food, they will become rajasic, right? Like that. So this is the second aspect which is very important. The third thing is the sanskar of the food affects the intrinsic tendencies. So a lot of times children are not able to control, even if they know what is right and what is wrong, they're not able to control themselves. And that is because of the intrinsic tendencies of the children. Okay, go next. So food that we give to the children, it should be full of life force or vitality. In our terms, it is called as prana. It should be full of pranic energy. So cooked food, that is overcooked food, let's say, and highly processed food, it gradually makes food worse in terms of quality and makes it more difficult to digest, right? It removes the sattvic gunas from the food and makes it more and more tamasic and rajasic. Rajasic and then eventually tamasic. So tamasic food, of course, includes all the non-vegetarian foods, onion, garlic, mushroom, alcohol, and so on. Rajasic food, which is the real favorite of today's children. Cola drinks, energy drinks, chocolate, spicy food, salt, cakes, chips, biscuits, tea, coffee. All these are actually Rajasic foods. Okay, go next. Sattvic foods are those which are best foods because they increase vitality and balance the mind. Fruits, sprouts, fresh vegetables, salad, and milk. In our daily dosage of food, it's a good idea to look through what we are actually giving our children. What is it that our children are eating? I can assure you that if these things are, the quantity of these kind of foods is high in their intake, you can be rest assured that these children will definitely be a little more obedient. They'll be a little more, the mind will be a little better in control, and they will not divulge like the way they normally do. They will not listen and things like that. If their basic tendencies, if the basic gunas are sattvic in the food that they eat, they are going to listen a little better. I wouldn't say they'll be completely obedient, but at least their restlessness of the mind will definitely come under control. Okay, go next. So I would like here to share a few words on sprouted food grains. Right, all the sprouts that we take has a lot of good qualities, and I think this is something which must be adopted in daily lives. Every one of us, should take a little bit of sprouted food during the day. Go next. I have listed here, list of all vitamins and all that, and different types of chemicals which body needs as the body grows, and you can say sprouted grains sort of appears in most of these requirements. They meet most of the requirements that the body has. Go next. Right, vitamin C, D, E, all okay except D, but C, E, K, and all that is very well present in sprouted grains. The point is when in these grains, when water comes inside, when water gets absorbed, all the nutrients suddenly become a little, they become something which become much more easy to absorb. And the reason for that is because that same nutrient is actually needed by the plant to grow, and that is available in the raw form, the most easily digestible form. Sprouts contain almost all vitamins and minerals. Sprouts are most effective in reducing stress hormone levels for small kids. So examination time and all that, for example, if small kids eat sprouted grains, you will see that they'll have a better concentration, they'll have much lower reduced levels of stress. And of course it helps fight diseases because it's rich in vitamins and minerals. Go next. So we recommend, and this is what we do every time when you come to Shantikunj, where which is the center of all World Gayatri Pariwar. Morning breakfast includes sprouts which are made of these 5 things, and this is again very scientifically chosen. We take whole moong, green or black grams, ground nuts, methi seeds and ajwain seeds, and there of course we get only a little bit of salt to add. Normally salt is not supposed to be added, but to make sure that the children like the taste, it's a good idea to add a touch of salt and put some lemon, which enhances the taste, and then they will be able to they'll be more willing to accept sprouts as part of their daily food. Okay, go next. So this was the part of eating food. Now that is the sattvic gunas of food. Refining sanskaras of food, this is a little more subtle aspect. See, the food that we eat actually comes from all over the place. You know, so many people would, somebody will grow, somebody will touch, somebody will sell, somebody will buy. Eventually it will come to you, right? And when it passes through so many hands, great rishis say that everybody who touches that food sort of leaves a little bit of imprint on that food which is coming to you. So they have suggested that we can do a very simple process by which that sanskar of that food can be refined. And this process is called as Balivashva process, which is taught to everybody who attends classes in Shantikunj or even in these yagyas that we conduct. We actually teach this simple process. It's a very simple means of doing things. What is done is every time the food is prepared, we take a small piece of roti or any grain that we take, make it into 5 parts, mix them with ghee and sugar, right? Take a small pan, which is copper pot. It is put on fire and it is heated up. Add a little bit of ghee into it. After some time, when it gets hot, it catches fire, right? And when the fire is caught into it, we add a little bit of havan samagri. If you had attended the yagya here today morning, you would have seen we offer havan samagri into the fire. That havan samagri is added, which is again consisting of a lot of good herbs, which has again good qualities. You can see actually at my home, for example, my wife does it every day. And I may not pray every day, but she ensures that she conducts Bali Vashva every day. And that process, I tell you, if you do that Bali Vashva at your home in an apartment, when you enter the apartment, you can feel that this process has been done because of that beautiful smell that you get when you conduct any kind of an havan. So done in a very small way, it enhances the power of those herbs and whatever is offered into that hundreds of millions of times. I'd say hundreds is it's not enough. Millions of times it expands and it spreads into the entire environment around. So it can actually purify the environment to a large extent. The concept is also very beautiful. There are actually 5 offerings made along with Gayatri Mantra. The first Gayatri Mantra, after the first Gayatri Mantra, when the offering is made, we say, this is for Brahmane and not for me. Brahmane means the entire creation, Brahma, which has actually sustained this creation. So this offering is going to that creator, right? The one who sustains the whole creation. The second part goes to Devabhya, which are all forces of nature. So we are offering that whatever food that we are going to consume later, first is being offered to all the forces of nature which sustain us. To all the rishis who have made us, who have given us knowledge and who have made us humans. See, unless the only difference between human beings and animals is the sanskaras and the value systems that we have, right? And these value systems actually have originated from great thinkers and rishis of our earlier times. And so we pay homage to them, we pay respect to them by offering a little bit of that food, one of the 5 small pieces we offer to all the great rishis. Then we give it to Narebhya, which is for all human beings. We offer that little bit of food. It is not for me alone, it is for everyone. So everyone can take that food. So, and the last one, of course, is Bhutebhya, which is for all living creations. We say that it is for the entire creation that we have. All living beings are, part of that, and they should get a little bit of the food that we eat. So once we do this process, we sort of, whatever is left over, we actually put it back into our food, and then that food is consumed by everyone. So it's a very nice process, extremely simple, takes just 5 minutes, and I think, I would recommend everyone to learn it and teach to others. It improves the sanskar at home. Okay, go next. Finally, coming to art of raising kids. Basically, you're teaching the kids only when when we have true love, essentially affection and appreciation when they do right, firmness and discipline when they do wrong. This is very important. A lot of times we, are not firm enough with the children. The need to listen and importance of bonding. Children should love being at home. Time should be spent with children. And finally, children learn only what is practiced by their parents. So, in the case you really want them to learn something, you should adopt it in your own lives. Go next. So, Bal Sanskar Shala is something, the opportunity that we have is we can actually, there is one Didi who conducts these Bal Sanskar Shala classes, and I think you can go over and see how the small children are taught by Gayatri Parivar people. And the other thing is, so this is at a very fundamental level. At a higher level, we have a Dev Sanskriti University. Just go next. This is a university at Haridwar, where we teach various kind of courses. Go next. Yogic sciences and human consciousness is taught. Clinical psychology, Indian culture and tourism, Dharm Vigyan, holistic health management, self-reliance and rural management. These are the kind of courses which are offered. You can get more information in our book section which is there. So you can get some more information about that. And in this university also values are taught along with when we teach the regular career-oriented courses. Go next. So with that, I conclude my presentation. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Amitabh Saraf. That was a very engaging talk. I'm sure you will have many takeaways from this talk and you found it useful, worth your time. Now the next talk, it's getting interesting by the day, okay? So for the next talk, stay tuned. We have Adharaniya Dr. Pranav Pandya, head of All World Gayatri Pariwar. He's going to enter this room very soon. And Dr. Saab will address the gathering, followed by Dr. Anil Jha, cardiac surgeon from Gujarat. So please maintain silence. We don't want anybody standing up. So please find a seat and be seated. And please keep the aisle free. Please keep the entrance free. Let's not stand in the path. I request all the people, our volunteers, at the entrance to come inside and take their seats. Respected Dr. Pranav Pandya will be coming here soon. Please maintain silence and take your seats. I request all those entering the hall now to find their seats. Please don't have any seats empty within you, okay? So keep it at the either end so that it becomes easy for those who come in to enter. Okay. If we have our own Gayatri Parivar volunteers who are seated here, and others, newcomers and outsiders, and distinguished attendees who have come here to attend the talk, if they don't find places, please make way for them. Our own volunteers, please give their seats to the attendees. Over the last 2 days, we've been listening a lot about Gayatri and Yagya. In the context of Sangachadvam, in the context of validating science and spirituality, integrating science and spirituality, we have an appropriate talk today, Gayatri and Yagna in the era of science, a case study being presented by Dr. Anil Jha, a renowned cardiac surgeon from Gujarat. I request Dr. Anil Jha to come forward. It gives me great pleasure to introduce the speaker of the day, Dr. Anil Jha. Dr. Anil Jha is a cardiac surgeon at the Maha Gujarat Hospital in Gujarat since 1997. He did his MBBS and MS in general surgery from Gujarat University and his MCH DNB in cardiothoracic surgery from CMC Vellore in 1993. He has worked as a senior registrar in cardiac surgery at the prestigious King's College Hospital in London from 1995 to 1997. He has performed more than 3,500 coronary bypasses and valve replacement operations and was the first in India to start endoscopic radial artery harvesting for coronary bypass surgery and also the first to start endoscopic saphenous vein harvesting for bypass surgery. He has multiple papers and presentations in international conferences and has been practicing spirituality in medical practice, including yagya therapy. He is an experienced speaker on a number of topics like scientific spirituality, spirituality in medical practice, and social responsibility. He is the author. His profession as a doctor has helped him to encounter various patients who have attested that inculcating Gayatri and Yagya have helped them in recovering fast and also in getting a positive outlook towards life. In this particular talk, he'll share his interesting experiences to explain the spiritual, psychological, and therapeutic benefits of Gayatri and Yagya. Presenting Dr. Anil Jha. So this is a unique opportunity for us to listen from the horse's mouth. We have been listening about various aspects of Gayatri and Yagya during the last 2 days. This is a grand experiment that we've been conducting in Palace Grounds, Bangalore, the Gayatri Ashwamedha Mahayagya. So you would have heard through the course of the day many talks explaining about Gayatri, not as a mantra, but as a way of life. How you inculcate the principles of Gayatri in each walk of life. So today we'll hear from a medical practitioner the experiments that he has made in using Yagya and Gayatri in his own hospital and what he has seen as benefits that has given to his patients. So this is a case study that is from the experimental himself. We also have amongst our midst many renowned and distinguished guests from the medical field. It gives me immense pleasure to welcome you all to this seminar as part of Sangat Chadvam. We have Dr. Naresh Shetty, Senior Professor of Orthopedics at MS Ramaya Medical College and Hospital, President, International Program of Strategic Alliance, GEF Health. We have Dr. R. Srinivasan, Chief Neurologist, MS Ramaya Hospital. A round of applause for all the distinguished guests here. We are going to have a grand lamp festival in the evening, but we have all the stars shining here in this very room now. So please put your hands together. Dr. Naresh Shetty has played a pivotal role in reviving ancient medical sciences, supporting complementary medicine methods. His interest lies in validating the ancient Indian methods through scientific studies and research. Welcome, Dr. Naresh Shetty. We have amongst us Dr. Dayaprasad G. Kulkarni, the founder, director of Arogya Seva. Dr. Kulkarni is a young doctor who has done pioneering work in channelizing the energies of more than 1,000 doctors to cater to the medical needs of rural India and remote parts of India. Please put your hands together for Dr. Dayaprasad G. Kulkarni. We humbly invite Dr. Naresh Shetty, Dr. Dayaprasad Kulkarni, and Dr. R. Srinivasan to come forward to light the lamp. Our volunteers will be there to help you, sir.